Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Chat. My name is Don Walmsley. I'll be your host today. And my guest is Leisel Milligan, who is the driving force behind Neepawa Newcomers Coat Room.
Yes, sir.
Wow, what a title. I like it, you know. So talk a bit about it. What is it and how did it start?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
The Neepawa Newcomers Coat Room is a community initiative that is giving away free winter coats to newcomers, any newcomers experiencing their first winter in Canada.
Okay, first winter. So what do you mean by that? How do you define the first winter?
So here we are it is September. So if someone has arrived to Canada as of March of 2023, they're coming into their first full winter. Okay. They qualify for the coat room.
Good. Okay. Well, that's very definitive, and that's good. First winters can be a major shock to newcomers. You can see all you like on television and movies and the snow, and isn't that nice? But when you're actually here in February at 40 below, it can be an eye-opener. Well, that's good. So how did it start? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I knew you'd ask me this question, Don, and so it's a tricky one to answer because for me personally, this has been growing over the last several years. Okay. This desire to really welcome our newcomers in a practical way. And I think when I look back over those years, I think it was just interacting with newcomers, hearing their stories, and just having this realization at some point along the way, like this is a really huge deal to immigrate to Canada, to come all this way. And I just hearing the financial difficulties, the emotional difficulties, the culture shock, and the physical shock. So I don't know if climate shock is a real term, but it is a real experience. You know, our newcomers, the vast majority are coming from the Philippines. And I say, like, it's about as extreme as you can get, right? From their climate to our winters. So it's a really difficult transition, I think, for a lot of people.
Well, and you're quite right. I mean, that initial arriving here, there is a financial burden, but given COVID and of course the incredibly high inflation rate at this point and the cost of food and meals, it impacts even more. Okay, so you had that, you've been thinking about that. So what was the trigger point that you decided to move forward? What were the pieces that had to fall into place for you to do that? Yeah,
so in these interactions, these relationships that were formed, it was at the time, it was just a matter of, oh, my son or daughter has outgrown a winter coat or winter garment. Oh, here, let me share this with you because I know it will keep your child warm. So it started just by giving away things out of my own closet. And then I ran out of things in my closet. And I would see things, you know, in the spring on clearance, and I would feel it. And as a Canadian, I would know, like, oh, that one will block the wind. That one will keep someone warm. That's a good price. These are things we take for granted that we just know. And so then I started collecting those items thinking, oh, I'll be able to find a newcomer who will benefit from that. That went on for a few years, and then eventually my social circle just was too small, and I thought, how do I reach more? I want all newcomers to be able to access this, and so I just felt like it had to grow.
Good for you. I mean, this is not the first time coats have been provided, winter coats for newcomers, but this is the first time it's had a very sort of cohesive, structured, it sounds like, approach. So what is your structure? Are you still doing it on your own, under your back door? Or?
No, so that was a quick realization that this could not be a one-man thing. So the coat room has a board of 4 members, so a core group, and a very supportive community surrounding of, you know, like our bigger, more established community groups, kind of providing support and, you know, giving some guidance initially was really important, and then the volunteer base. So what was your? I want to bring back to that question you were asking.
In terms of looking at your structure, how it formed, and what it is.
Yes, that's right. So it's a very focused effort. We are focusing just on winter coats for newcomers in their first winter.
Just coats? Are there mittens, hats, or boots involved at this point, or no, not yet?
No, at this time it's just the winter coats, with the exception of snow pants for children.
Okay.
So we are trying to provide the whole snow suit for children. Whether or not they're always together is dependent on what we have in inventory.
Okay. So. That takes a lot of work. So how did you sort of promote this? Like, where are your sources? Is it just the individuals around town? Have there been any corporations or group sort of responses in terms of we'll give you 20 coats, we got 15 here, or is it all like how is that working?
Yes. So the very first phone call, actually even before that, I think I sat down with the pastor of my church and said, I have this idea. And he said, well, my recommendation to you is call the community members, like find out who are the big community organizations. Ask, is this a real need? Would this benefit the community? And would this fit in line with your services? So I think my first phone call was to the Salvation Army. My second one was to the Neepawa Settlement Office. And I think the other initial phone calls were to the Philcan group of Neepawa, Arts Forward, and the town. And the result of those conversations was so positive and very much, yes, there's a need. If you want to if you want to focus on this particular one, we can keep doing what we're doing and you focus on this, we will support you. And the biggest support has come in the form of promotion of the coat room, letting the newcomers know, because every group has their contact point with the different new. So if they say, hey, there's this service, if it's your first winter, we know where you can get a winter coat. That's been huge for us.
Well, you must have a very large garage.
No.
In order to put things in. Is that where you're keeping the coats right now?
It's so funny. At the moment, they are in the attic of my house, and there are a lot of winter coats.
Do you have any idea how many coats you have right now?
Yes. So we had an initial goal to have an inventory of 200 coats to open this year.
Wow, good for you.
And we are on the cusp of surpassing that for this opening year.
Wow. So clearly, has your response been from any particular area in the community specifically, or is it being broad-based?
Well, we had a coat donation drive in the spring, and we were just starting to form this concept of the coat room, and I wasn't quite organized myself, and Yvonne at Arts Forward said, just put a bin out. We'll host it. Arts Forward hosted the bin, and we put the bin out, and several organizations that were already established promoted the drive for us, because we didn't have Facebook or a core yet. And I think it was less than 48 hours before Yvonne called me and said, your bin is full, come and empty it out. And I was like, oh, okay, people are noticing. The very next day she called again and again, and that first drive brought in over 80 usable winter coats.
Isn't that amazing? Well, we actually, when you take a look at the impact of newcomers coming here and the response of the community, one of the factors you always look at when new people are coming from other countries to an area is the welcoming aspect of the community. This community overall has been extremely welcoming.
Yes.
And so I'm not surprised. They're very, very generous, very giving people in this community. That's good. So they're in your attic.
Yes, at the moment. So we had a problem, an unforeseen problem, that you have to hang these coats somewhere. so we didn't have.
You're learning as you go.
We're learning as we go. So we put out a request to the Rotary Club of Neepawa, and we said, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. We're collecting all these coats. We have nowhere to hang them. Would you consider? And the Rotary Club came through huge for us, and they provided the funds for the lumber and the support. So now we have our garment racks built so that we can hang the coats.
And again, that's, I think, symptomatic of how people operate here. People are very supportive and very giving. Many like that specificity. We need this to do that. That's good. That's good to hear. That's nice to hear. So, so you are not the only. You can't be the only person driving this.
No, sir.
Incredible. A lot. You have a family. You know, other things to do. So, who else is involved?
So we are a 4-person board. Wendy Sikarko, who is a teacher in Glenelg. All these people have wear different hats, but you know they come together to support this group. We have Della Headley, Leanne Hopkins, who herself was a newcomer in the last few years. So she brings a really unique perspective to the group, like things that we hadn't even thought of. And then, as I said, the community groups that are established, who know their business, who have been supportive in offering guidance. And then our volunteer base, which is really diverse and really exciting. We have volunteers from local churches. We have volunteers from...
Because I was going to say, local churches will want to help out in this kind of endeavor as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Been very supportive in donations and offering volunteer time when the coat room opens. And the high school Hope group is providing volunteers, so bringing in the youth aspect there. And just a variety of places. A lot of the community is going to be represented in our volunteers, which is really exciting for me.
Oh, wow, it is. So, now, you're calling yourself the Neepawa Newcomer Coat Room, but you're looking at coats for children primarily. Is that correct?
Actually, no, Don. We are going to offer coats all genders, all sizes.
Excellent.
And I was really keen on that because a lot of our newcomers come over as singles first, especially men. So they'll come over and they'll experience the same kind of shock that their family will, but they also have the burden of their sending money back to support their family in the Philippines while establishing their life here. So we have a very robust men's section.
Excellent. You've done your research.
Well, you know what? The best laid plans, I noticed. We have appointments for the coat room to open, and I'm a little surprised at the amount of children. More children than I anticipated. So we are actively seeking out donations for children's snowsuit. We need more and more sizes.
That's good to know, and that doesn't surprise me, because those singles who come over, related work will be the information around you need good coats. So it doesn't surprise me there's a large number for children, because most families will think, well, we need to get our children suited before us too.
Okay.
So I'm not surprised. So right now you're in a major drive for children's.
Yes. We are looking for all sizes, surprisingly a high number of preteens and teens. So we have quite a few, of the really young ones. We've got a good inventory base, but that age sounds like age 10 to 15. We have a high number of appointments for that.
Are you doing some specific promotion around just that age range for coats?
Yes, so we are in the middle of a coat drive now, and our specific request to the community was children's snowsuits, although sometimes people assume really little, but it is the older children, and hangers, because then we got the garment racks and then we had no hangers. So one piece at a time.
Well, it does, a journey can often surprise you, and that's good to know. How are you promoting that? How are you asking for that? What avenues are you doing?
Yes. So now we do have an operational Facebook page and an email. So to contact the coat room, you can find us on Facebook or you can email us. The Banner did a beautiful piece for us about the coat room, and that helped raise awareness. And then our community network, all of the social media avenues. We have flyers around town.
So you sent information to like some of the church, community churches and other organizations to promote on their social media?
Yes, correct.
Good. So are you going to keep storing them in your attic going forward, or is part of the plan to look at another place that maybe...
I think that will be a a future question. For this year, we have a donated space to operate the coat room.
And where's that?
So the Prairie Alliance Church in Neepawa
Okay.
will be the operating space for this winter. It's a donated space. So the way that the coat room is going to run is that we will be fully open, think like a retail store,
Yes.
for 2 Saturdays in October. So newcomers can make an appointment for a time. They'll come to the Prairie Alliance Church. We'll have a welcome area, a waiting area. They'll have their appointment time, and then they'll have a personal shopper will take them into the coat room where they can choose their own coats.
This is quite organized. So, but only one appointment at the time, because you're going to have a lot of appointments.
So we are fully booked for our first day, which is Saturday, October 21st.
How many bookings will that take?
We have 70 bookings on that day.
Wow.
So we're open for 7 hours, and we have booked 10 appointments per hour.
So you've got different people. More than one appointment will be going through at one time.
That's
sounds
correct.
Like.
That's correct. So to run this coat room fully operational, because we're trying to get a big, influx, a big initial push, it will require over 20 volunteers to run that day.
And how many do you have so far?
We have a volunteer base. I was looking this morning in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 confirmed. Lots of offers to help. So if anyone wants to be confirmed as a volunteer and scheduled in, I would love that.
Who do they call?
There is a form to fill out on our Facebook page.
So what is the Facebook page? Under what? What's the name of the Facebook page?
Neepawa Newcomers Coat Room.
Okay.
Should be able to find it there.
Check on Facebook for more information, and also if you want to volunteer, make sure you source that out.
And if anyone's not on Facebook, I wasn't on Facebook for 20 years. Neepawa Newcomers Coat Room at gmail.com. Neepawa NCR at gmail.com.
Neepawa NCR at gmail.com for emailing.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Wow. Who have been some of the key players with you? You mentioned some before. Are there any others? You made reference to 3 or 4 individuals that are part of your board. Anyone else that comes to mind that you feel has been really one of your players there all the time, helping out, doing things?
Well, there was one, just when you were saying that, one individual really stepped up huge. So part of the coat room, we want to provide a winter coat, but we also want to plant the seed to embrace winter. Do not be afraid of Canadian winters. We want to plant that seed like you can thrive and enjoy winters. It's part of embracing Canada. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to have a winter welcome package for each of our newcomers. And in this package, there'll be a little bit of information on other winter gear, like mittens and boots in particular, how to look for like what symbols to look for, what are the good quality, like look for a waterproof sole, choose mittens over gloves, weather resistant over fleece, these kinds of things like that. But then I also wanted to highlight winter recreation in our town. What are the things we do for fun in winter? How do we get outside and engage with winter? So I reached out to Nicole, the recreation director at the town office. And I said, this is my idea. Well, first of all, this is what the coat room is. This is our idea for our newcomers. Would you consider partnering with us, or what would you like us to highlight about the town? She said, just give me a few days. And she drafted up this beautiful color printed recreation made just for our newcomers.
Excellent.
Where the trails are, where tobogganing is, that crokinole set down at the flats.
Down at the flats.
She has a QR code on there that says, scan this to learn how to play. So she's even giving instructions.
She should share that around.
Yes. Oh, it's
excellent.
A beautiful resource. So that's going to be tucked in with our, our welcome package.
I'm really impressed with the thought that's gone into that, because it's not just simply coats, but you've gone beyond that to take a look at the the social dynamic around coats and winter and that kind of thing. That's very good. It's very useful. So you're waiting to see what this does. You're clearly going to be doing some kind of evaluation. Have you decided what that's going to look like?
Evaluation of the coat room.
Of the coat room.
Well, we are inventorying our coats. So I think that speaks to our desire to see its longevity, because the reason for inventorying coats is a lot of work.
Yes,
it was an unexpected volume of work, but if we have the information for future years, oh, we gave away this many coats and they were predominantly children's or women's, you know, what do we need for future years? So I anticipate, as long as we have newcomers in this unique position in our town, I'd love to see the coat room carrying on each year.
I would suggest, I think that's excellent. You need to evaluate how things go. But having had a little bit of experience with that, not every year is the same. Therefore, predictability can be challenging. One year could be a lot of kids, and another year could be a lot of adults, or it could be teens. But you do it successively. I don't think you make major plans, but you see what worked this year, see if it works again next year, that kind of thing. I think you're right. We are currently in a situation where every year we have a large number of people new, whether that's singles or then their families come. So this is always, I think, going to be something, because our winters aren't changing. They're still cold, they're still snowy. So it's an interesting dynamic, but I think from all the efforts you put in, it would really be good to evaluate and start thinking ahead. You'll make changes and you'll identify all those kinds of things. That's part of the process, right?
Yeah, and I'm also hoping that if we have, you know, some pieces of data, that we can approach larger organizations and say, you know, here's not just a perceived need, here's an actual need, and here's how we know that. Then we can take that to larger groups and say, how would you like to support us or partner with us?
And I think that's a good part of the plan going forward, because some of these larger organizations, you'd be surprised at their willingness to say, we'll give you 40 new coats from this, because that happened to us in the past.
Okay.
So it's possible. But having the data to go forward saying, wow, this is the need, and that kind of thing, I think it would bode well. It would bode well. So what else? What are some of the surprises?
Well, you know, I think the biggest surprise to the coat room has been really, I hoped the community would be supportive of the coat room, but I think I was pleasantly surprised. I was genuinely surprised at just how supportive the community was. I think that Neepawa, I mean, like you mentioned, is such a welcoming and generous community. And then just having, you know, a small group of people give an outlet for that generosity, and the town just pounced on it. Like, oh yeah, there's another thing we can do to welcome our newcomers. So that was a very pleasant surprise along the way.
Any other challenging surprises you encountered, other than you need to hang coats?
Just the coats in my attic. Yeah, the bulkiness of the coats. No, I think the biggest challenge for me personally was just trying to extend good communication to all of the community players. And, you know, this isn't my background, this isn't necessarily my gifting, but wanting everyone in the community, especially the established community groups, to garner their respect and like mutual respect, and work together, be collaborative, have good communication together. So I found that a challenging aspect.
But an important one, because so many projects like this can fall apart or lose momentum because of lack of communication. So that's a very important part to remember and to make, because people don't mind engaging and supporting. if they hear how things are going, and you know, that kind of, it's a feedback loop.
Yes. Well,
Good for you.
I'm looking forward to that, Dawn, in a few months being sending that follow-up report.
That would be very good. Yes.
Look what was accomplished, and I look forward to sharing that with the whole community. Look what was accomplished by the collaborative work of many people coming together, many people wanting to extend this warm welcome. And I think many people recognize, as we do at the Coat Room, that we have so much appreciation for our newcomers. This is a genuine welcome, because the newcomers have brought vitality and life to our town. There is so much thriving in Neepawa because of the presence of our newcomers, and you know, the hard work and the family dynamics. So it is a very genuine, warm welcome. We're happy you're here. And then, you know, that empathy piece of, we recognize some of the challenges, and we want to, you know, not just say, hey, welcome here, good luck, but it's, hey, welcome here, can we help in this one aspect of your journey? So.
We're coming close to the end of our time. It's gone fairly quickly. Is there anything you'd like to add? Anything you've missed saying?
I just want to express my gratitude to the community, to the volunteers, and to our newcomers. You know, this is a win-win project that I just feel very privileged to be a part of, and I look forward to, you know, being able to be at the wheel of this thing, but on behalf of so many.
Well, when you take a look at it, it's a project that has so many levels or layers to it, and a broad base of engagement from all aspects of the community, and driven by that one fact that we've seen the large influx of newcomers, especially over the past 10 years, impact education, healthcare, employment, housing, all sorts of things that have gone on in the community. And I'm interested. Quick question. Community members, people who've been here a long time, are engaging. Are some of the newer community members, like some of the newcomers who've been here 3 and 5 years maybe, or that, have they been participating in this process?
Oh, yes. And that has been very cool, because I feel like our established newcomers, let's say like 5 years plus, have been here, they also remember the feeling and they pass it on. And I've had people donating coats. I have volunteers that will be at the Coat Room who themselves have experienced, you know, so they'll be at the Coat Room. There's going to be a really broad representation of people groups and community members welcoming these newcomers at the Coat Room. So
good. Well, thank you very much for coming. I've been speaking with Leisel Milligan, who is the mover and shaker with regards to the Neepawa Newcomers Coat Room. More information will be coming out, but you can check their Facebook, which is Neepawa
Newcomers Coat Room on Facebook.
Okay, and then Neepawa NCR at gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please do, and on behalf of all of us here at NACTV and Coffee Chat, have a great day, and thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.